Reaching the Standards, 10th Grade English Language Arts Georgia Performance Standards. Hello students, the standard we're going to be learning today is the first standard from the writing section in the Georgia Performance Standards for 10th grade English and Language Arts. The main criteria of this standard is that students should be able to write arguments to support claims in an analysis of substantive topics or texts using valid reasoning and relevant and sufficient evidence. This standard is broken into 5 parts. The first part consists of students should be able to introduce precise claims, distinguish the claims from alternate or opposing claims, and create an organization that establishes clear relationships among claims, counterclaims, reasons, and evidence. Applying this to what we've been studying, you could identify a certain theme in the play The Crucible. To accomplish the standard's goal and complete the assignment, you could identify the struggle between good and evil. The second part of this standard is that students should develop claims and counterclaims fairly, supplying evidence for each while pointing out the strengths and limitations of both in a manner that anticipates the audience's knowledge level and concerns. In this instance, the student could argue that John Proctor represents good and Abigail Williams represents evil, but the struggle comes when you realize that the two had an affair, so the lines of good and evil aren't clearly drawn. The third part of this standard is students should use words, phrases, and clauses to link the major sections of the text, create cohesion, and clarify the relationships between claims and reasons, between reasons and evidence, and between claims and counterclaims. This means that you should use transition words at the start of each new paragraph to create an easy flow throughout your paper. The fourth part of this standard is that students should establish and maintain a formal style and objective tone while attending to the norms and conventions of the discipline in which they are writing. In other words, don't use slang terms or the abbreviations you use when texting your friends. Keep it classy. That brings us to the fifth aspect of this standard. Students should provide a concluding statement or section that follows form and supports the arguments presented. Don't just end your paper. Have a conclusion paragraph where you recap on the points you've covered. Now students, you are all aware of the standards that Georgia has set for us and the standards that we have set for ourselves in this classroom. So without further ado, I have an assignment for you. Remember the standards that we talked about and you'll make a good grade on the assignment. If you have any questions, just let me know. Your assignment is to compare and contrast the roles that Elizabeth Proctor and Abigail Williams play in The Crucible. Now you know the standards that you have, so get to writing.